We have all the members who are planning to be in attendance.
Yeah.
He sent me a note he wasn't coming.
Oh, he
Yeah.
did? The last thing I ever heard
It
of
was
it.
this afternoon it came out that he was still having trouble and he wouldn't be here.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
So. So I guess I'll jump in then
Sure.
and call the March 6th, 2024 meeting, the Harrisburg Planning Commission to order. Okay, I guess the first item of business will be to look at the minutes from February 7th, 2024. Any discussions, questions?
Yes, we do have, I do have one correction to make, and that would be for number 3 in the minutes, the variance application for 1901 North 6th Street. It should state Commissioner Merrick concurred with Commissioner O'Toole, that statement. Should be Commissioner Merrick. What? Oh, yeah, that's how we knew something was up.
All right, any other adjustments or comments on the minutes? All right, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve with that change.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor for the minutes? Aye?
Aye.
Okay, stand approved. All right, old business, I don't see that we have any. I do have a second one you can have, yeah.
I think I put mine.
Oh, I wonder where it came from then. All right. We will move on to new business. Number 1, special exception application for 2501 Market Street zoned INS, filed by Greg Feld with KC Sign Company to install a new internally illuminated freestanding sign which will increase non-conforming aspects of the existing signage in relation to height and size. So. All right, John?
Yep. So the first application is for 2501 Market Street. The applicant is proposing to install a new internally illuminated freestanding sign, which will increase nonconforming aspects of the existing signage related to height from 6 feet to 8.3 feet and size from 24 square feet to 40 square feet. The property at 2501 Market Street is a 19.8 acre lot featuring a 3-story educational campus with 3 primary structures totaling 280,724 square feet, the oldest of which was constructed in 1926, with more recent additions being completed in 2007. The property is bounded by Market Street to the north, South 25th Street to the east, the property at 301 Hale Avenue to the south, and 301 Hale Avenue to the south and Hale Avenue to the west. This detached structure features elements of the Italian Renaissance Revival architectural style. It was constructed by the well-known Harrisburg architectural collaboration of Lapley and Hornbostel. Character-defining features include the expansive layout, the multicolored brick facade of the original building featuring concrete coins on the corners, the ornate stone covers on some of the mechanical vents around the building, the large porticos above the northern and western entrances featuring large stone pillars, the metal ornamentation over the main entrance on Market Street, and the large modern additions to the southern end of the historic building. The main entryway features 3 sets of full-view metal doors topped with metal transoms and accessed by concrete ADA ramps and steps with metal railings. The entrance is deeply recessed and covered by a large portico supported by paneled concrete posts. A large sign is etched into the facade over the entrance. There are 2 other entrances on the eastern and western elevations. The eastern entrance features a set of full-view metal doors surrounded by arched side lights and transoms set within an arched concrete surround featuring a keystone. It is accessed by concrete steps with metal and concrete railings. The western entrance is similar to the main entrance and features a set of full-view metal doors flanked by picture windows. It is accessed by concrete steps and is recessed and covered by a large portico supported by paneled concrete pillars. Fenestration primarily features metal picture windows in a variety of sizes, configurations, and patterns around both the original building and the newer additions. Those in the historic building are set within concrete surrounds, and some are topped with recessed panels. The historic structure appears to be topped with a metal roof, and the modern additions are topped with flat rubber roofs. Grounds are well maintained, featuring mostly grass with some larger trees around the perimeter. The southern end of the campus features a track, football field, and field house, which are enclosed by a tall black metal fence. The campus differs significantly from the context of the surrounding neighborhood in the age, style, and layout of the buildings, which primarily features single-family residential uses with a few exceptions. The historic building retains much of its architectural integrity, and the campus makes a significant and unique contribution to the architectural character of the neighborhood. The Planning Bureau staff recommends that the request be approved with the following conditions. Any electronic messages displayed on the proposed sign will conform to the regulations in section 7-32511 of the zoning code regarding light and glare and prohibited electronically changing messages. Planning Bureau staff recommends the request be approved for the following reasons. The applicant has met their burden of proof demonstrating the special exception request should be approved by the zoning hearing board. Given the context of the installation site with the freestanding sign located within a large front lawn area, it could be argued that a larger sign is necessary to be visible and legible to passersby, allowing drivers to focus more on the road and improving safety. And finally, the proposed sign will be able to convey more information about educational and community programs, activities, and services, and enhance communication between the school district and the general public.
Okay, thank you very much. If you could identify yourself and your address and your connection to the project.
My name's Greg Feld. Is that microphone working all right? Greg Feld. Good enough? I'll try and speak loudly. My name's Greg Feld. I'm with KC Sign Company. Our address is 142 Conchester Highway, Ashton, Pennsylvania. And we are working with the Harrisburg School District to replace and add signs for all their schools throughout Harrisburg. And two of the schools we've done already have been able to, like for like, replace existing non-conforming signs, which we received permits for. So they're going for a uniform look for all the schools throughout the school district. And the two schools that were approved already have similar sign cabinets with LED message boards in them. So all the other sites, the 4 other sites we're here for tonight are a little different in that there's either no existing signs, so they're brand new signs, or we are increasing the square footage or the height for a couple different reasons.
Okay.
So those are the 4 we're here for tonight. And this is
Okay.
the first one.
There was, I believe, one condition noted here relative to the meeting the requirements for lighting control.
Yeah, basically, I think the zoning code doesn't want to see like strobing messages, stuff like that. So it has some references to that, prohibitions against that in the code.
Okay. You have no issue with that, I assume?
Not at all. The school is certainly willing to comply. And it actually, we feel it just helps the messages get the point across better if there's no pyrotechnics or anything funny going on.
Just out of curiosity, what's the point size on this versus the size on what you're taking out? Are they smaller?
Oh, like
The dot.
this
yeah.
one here, yeah, they have a smaller one there. We are increasing to, this one was 2 lines, it looks like, and we're increasing to 4. So the size of the lettering, it's probably increased.
It's like, what, there's .08, I think, is a smaller one, and there's .11s or for the LED dot size. It's just a question of curiosity, not a complaint. I just finished putting a bunch of these in at a university, and we had a big deal between the 11 and the 9, and I just was, oh, there he is.
For the
Okay.
size or like the pixels?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, these are the larger ones. There's more pixels in these. These are for high definition.
Okay, thank you. All right. All right, any questions by Planning Commission while we let Joe settle himself here?
If you're looking to start over here, I
I'll
don't think I
start.
have any questions. I've, driving by, I know exactly what sign this is, and it is, like Jeff was pointing out, it's set back, it's already in the middle of a lawn, and this, I think, just makes it a little bit more legible.
All right.
And I have no questions.
Sean?
I have no questions either.
Okay, Ann?
No questions either.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, anyone in the audience wants to speak to this matter? No, not seeing a lot of movement back there, so, okay. I would accept the motion at this point.
I'd move to approve with the one condition noted.
Okay, we have motion, do we have second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
I believe the next one is also a sign. This one is for 1313 Monroe Street. And It is the, I guess, the internally illuminated sign, relief from two aspects, size and illumination.
And just for clarity, the first one, this one, and the next two will all be school district signs, but they all have either unique aspects of the sign as approached by the zoning code, or different recommendations by the planning bureau, which is why I did not consider them as a package. So the applicant, so the next application is for 1313 Monroe Street. It's the Downey School. The applicant's proposing to install a new internally illuminated wall sign, which requires relief from two aspects of the signage regulations regarding size and illumination. The proposal requires approval of two variances for a sign larger than permitted by right, 48 square feet versus 10 square feet, and an internally illuminated sign. Property at 1313 Monroe Street is comprised of 3 separate parcels totaling 3.89 acres and featuring a 2-story building which was constructed in 1939. Property is bounded by Calder Street to the north, the property at 1201 Cumberland Street and North 12th Street to the east, Cumberland Street to the south, and Monroe Street and 2 unaddressed parcels to the west. This detached structure features elements of a mid-century architectural style. Character-defining features include the brick facade, low-slung horizontal building massing, the large porte-cochere on the northern end of the property, and the large sign anchored in the facade over the main entrance. There are several entryways into the building. Primary entrance at the southern end of the small accessory parking lot in front of the building features 3 sets of full-view metal doors topped with metal panels and accessed by a concrete ADA ramp and steps with metal railings. The entrance is slightly recessed between concrete walls with an awning above. A secondary entrance at the northern end of the parking lot features full-view double doors flanked by large side lights and topped with large, simple transoms. It is covered by a large awning. The entrance on the northern end of the building is configured in a similar arrangement. Fenestration primarily features metal windows in a variety of sizes, configurations, and patterns around the building, with concrete sections separating groups of paired windows, all of which are topped with vertically arranged brick bands. Structure appears to be topped with a metal roof. The grounds are well maintained, featuring mostly grass, with 2 separate playgrounds at the northern and southern ends of the property. The northern one is enclosed by a chain link fence, and the southern one features a decorative aluminum fence supported by brick columns. The building is situated within a neighborhood without a defined architectural style or use pattern, with residential apartments to the north and east, and more industrial or commercial development to the west and south. As such, while the building does not contribute to the architectural character of the neighborhood. The Planning Bureau staff recommends the request be approved with the following conditions. Any electronic messages displayed on the proposed sign will conform to the regulations in section 7-325.11 of the zoning code regarding light and glare and prohibited electronically changing messages. Planning Bureau staff recommends the request be approved for the following reasons. The context of the installation site, with the wall sign facing the rear of a large commercial building without windows, mitigates any potential impacts on the surrounding community due to the internal illumination. The proposed sign will be able to convey more information about educational and community programs, activities, and services, and enhance communication between the school district and the general public. Given the configuration of the site with no available frontage along Monroe Street on which to install a freestanding sign more visible to the public, and the floodplain designation of the property, a wall sign setback from the street is a more reasonable alternative to a freestanding sign. Finally, the proposal is similar in size to wall signage at other commercial and industrial properties in the surrounding neighborhood, and particularly along Cameron Street and Hurst Street. To the Planning Bureau's knowledge, these have not created adverse impacts for other properties. Thus, it is reasonable to assume that there will be negligible impacts on the surrounding properties and neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. Again, your,
Everything again, okay.
yeah,
Name's Greg Feld from KC Sign Company. Address is 142 Conchester Highway, Ashton, Pennsylvania, and I'm here representing Harrisburg School District.
okay. Any questions on the condition?
No,
Okay,
we are perfectly willing to accept that and follow it.
all right. Do you have any questions from the audience or comments? Okay, hearing none. Planning Commission, I'll start on the extreme left.
No questions.
No questions?
No questions.
Ann?
No questions.
Okay, hearing no questions. Any further discussion by the board? Okay, hearing none. I accept a motion.
Motion to approve with condition.
Second?
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, there's two out
Thank
of
you
the
very
way.
much.
Hey, Joe, you ready to take on?
Yeah, settled in, I guess.
All right, this will be number 3 then, I think.
This is item number 3. This is a variance application for 301 Hill Avenue. It's zoned INS. It's filed by Gregory Fields. It's with a KC Sign Company, and it's to install a new internally illuminated freestanding sign, which requires relief from 3 aspects of the signage regulations regarding height, size, and illumination. Staff.
So the application for 301 Hale Avenue involves a proposal to install a new internally illuminated freestanding sign, which requires relief from 3 aspects of the signage regulations regarding height, size, and illumination. The proposal requires approval of 3 variances for a sign larger than permitted by right, 32 square feet versus 8 square feet, a sign taller than permitted by right, 7.3 feet versus 4 feet, and an internally illuminated sign. Property at 301 Hale Avenue is a 13.8-acre lot featuring a 72,858 square foot building, which was constructed circa 1900. Property is bounded by the property at 2501 Market Street to the north, South 25th Street to the east, Harris Terrace, and the property at 342 South 25th Street to the south, and Hale Avenue to the west. It's a 1-story detached structure, features elements of a mid-century architectural style. Character-defining features include the brick facade, low-slung horizontal building massing, the porte cochere on the northern end of the building, the 3 bands of concrete blocks around the roof line, and the large sign anchored into the masonry facade over the main entrance. The main entryway fronts on Hale Avenue and features 3 sets of full-view metal doors, topped with large plate glass transoms and accessed by a concrete ADA ramp and steps with metal railings. The entrance is slightly recessed beneath a large awning supported by brick pillars. There are secondary entrances facing the accessory parking lot to the north of the building, featuring solid metal double doors. Fenestration is more limited than at other school facilities and primarily features metal windows in a variety of configurations and patterns, some of which are topped with metal panels. Structure appears to be topped with a metal and gravel roofs. The grounds are generally well maintained and feature mostly grass area around 2 sports facilities, including 4 tennis courts and a baseball field at the northern end of the property, and 2 playgrounds in the southwestern and southeastern portions of the property. The sports facilities are enclosed by chain link fences at least 8 feet tall. The building forms half an educational campus shared with the Harrisburg High School to the north, but is otherwise situated within residential neighborhoods, which are more dense to the south and less dense to the east and west. As such, there is no defined architectural style to which the building could contribute. The Planning Bureau staff recommends the request be approved with the following conditions. Any electronic messages displayed on the proposed sign will conform to the regulations in section 7-32511 of the zoning code regarding light and glare and prohibited electronically changing messages. The Planning Bureau staff recommends the request be approved for the following reasons. Signage is consistent with the size, height, and illumination of signage existing at or proposed for other facilities owned by the Harrisburg School District, ensuring consistency in messaging across all its properties. The signage will be situated to face north and southbound traffic on Hale Avenue and in a configuration that minimizes or eliminates any potential impacts on adjacent residential properties. The property currently features no exterior signage, which allows the school district to convey information to the general public, parents, and children. The proposed sign will be able to convey more information about educational and community programs, activities, and services, and enhance communication between the school district and the general public.
Okay. Thank you, staff. Gregory, you heard the staff report. Are you acceptable of the conditions?
Yes, yes, I am.
You have any additions to add to the report? Any comments?
No.
Okay. I have no questions at this time. Commissioner McKenzie,
None.
Commissioner O'Toole.
None really, but I was just, Jeffrey, I was surprised to see that that building was built in 1900.
Yeah, well, you'll see I made a note on the case report that I thought that was a questionable statistic by the county. It definitely
why.
seems newer, but in lacking any corrective information.
All right, I just wanted to let you know, I do listen to you.
Oh, okay.
No questions.
Commissioner Reed,
No questions.
Commissioner Norrick,
No questions.
Commissioner Jordan, I know he's not here. Joe?
No questions.
Okay. Maybe we're somewhere. Is there any concerns or questions from the public? If not, Commissioners, could I get a motion?
Motion to approve with condition.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and second for approval of the project. All those in favor state by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we're on item number 4. This is the variance application for 1201 North 6th Street. It's zone INS. It's filed by Gregory Field, the KC Sign Company, to install a new internally illuminated freestanding sign which requires relief from 3 aspects of the signage regulation regarding height, size, and illumination.
So the variance application for 1201 North 6th Street involves a proposal to install a new internally illuminated freestanding sign, which requires relief from 3 aspects of the signage regulations regarding height, size, and illumination. The proposal requires approval of 3 variances for a sign larger than permitted by right, 30 square feet versus 8 square feet, a sign taller than permitted by right, 11.3 feet versus 4 feet, and an internally illuminated sign. Property at 1201 North 6th Street is a 5.02 acre lot featuring a 50,338 square foot building, which was constructed in 1961. Property is bounded by the property at 1315 Rear North 6th Street to the north, properties at 1010 and 1200 North 7th Street to the east, properties at 600 Bow Street and 1001 North 6th Street to the south, and North 6th Street to the west. This 2-story detached structure features elements of the international architectural style. Character-defining features include the brick facade, low-slung horizontal building massing, the large building extension over the main entrance adorned with the school name and a relief of the namesake, a central courtyard featuring a fenced playground and blacktop schoolyard, and a large pool at the rear of the property. The main entryway at the northern end of the building features 3 sets of full-view metal doors, one of which is topped with a large plate glass transom, and the other 2 are topped with metal panels. The building projection which shelters it is supported by large round brick pillars. A secondary entrance at the southern end of the front elevation features full-view metal doors flanked by large side lights and topped with metal panels, which are accessed by a concrete ADA ramp and steps with metal railings. The entrance is sheltered beneath a large metal awning. There are secondary entrances facing the accessory parking lot to the south of the building, featuring full-view and solid metal double doors. Fenestration primarily features metal windows in a variety of configurations and patterns, most of which feature concrete sills or surrounds. The structure appears to be topped with a metal roof. The school grounds feature little landscaping aside from the frontage with North 6th Street. The southern and western portions of the property are paved for accessory parking. The eastern portion of the site features basketball courts and swimming pool facilities, and the central courtyard features a playground enclosed by a 4-foot-high metal fence supported by brick columns. Surrounding neighborhood features a variety of building styles and uses, from the historic Broad Street Market to FIA's offices to apartment towers, and there is little in the way of consistent architectural style or character to which the building could contribute. The Planning Bureau staff recommends the request be approved with the following conditions. The applicant will relocate the proposed sign to the eastern end of the site near the, or I guess I should say southern end of the site, near the vehicular entry point. The proposed location is directly across the street from the Broad Street Market, and an internally illuminated sign over 11 feet in height would create adverse impacts on a property both located in a municipal historic district and listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The Bureau also notes that the property to the north is intended to be developed as a multifamily dwelling, while the property to the south is an institutional use, active primarily during the daytime. Number 2, if the alternative location results in the proposed sign encroaching into the 5-foot setback specified in section 7-325.10B1 of the zoning code, the applicant shall be granted relief for that location. And finally, any electronic messages displayed on the proposed sign will conform to the regulations in section 7-325.11 of the zoning code regarding light and glare and prohibited electronically changing messages. Planning Bureau staff recommends the request be approved for the following reasons. The site is differentiated from the signage submitted for other properties owned by the applicant, given that it is in a more active and visually complex environment. More conspicuous signage will help identify the property and convey information more quickly, helping drivers maintain focus on the road conditions. The signage is consistent with the size, height, and illumination of signage existing at or proposed for other facilities owned by the Harrisburg School District, ensuring consistency in messaging across all properties. The signage will be situated to face north and southbound traffic on North 6th Street, and thus will minimize any potential impacts on adjacent residential properties across the street. And finally, the property currently features no exterior signage, which allows the school district to convey information to the general public, parents, and children. The proposed sign will be able to convey more information about educational and community programs, activities, and services, and enhance communication between the school district and the general public.
Thank you, staff. Gregory, once again, you heard the staff report. Are you acceptable of those conditions?
Yes, we appreciate the suggestion to move it to the other location. We think that's going to work out a lot better there anyway, so we love it.
Okay. Commissioners, I have no questions. Commissioner Kuzic,
None at this time, thank you.
Commissioner O'Toole,
None.
Commissioner Reed,
No questions?
Commissioner Merrick.
I do have a question. The 11-foot, it's 11 feet tall, the elevation of this sign? It's significantly higher than the other signs that were
Yes,
proposed.
it's 11.3 feet tall total.
Okay, so I'm just curious why this height?
The main reason is, as was talked about, is it's in an area where we're very close to the setback from the right-of-way, and it's close to the sidewalk. It's on this busy street, too. This street is much more traffic on that street than the other streets for the most part. And we wanted to make sure there's enough clearance from the sidewalk, and we can fit it into this narrow strip of grass in front there.
Okay,
We have
so
less area to put the sign in.
Yeah, so moving it to the south, so is it gonna sit, Jeff, in the closest to the road?
So we envisioned it as being to the ingress point to the parking lot. So again, that's on the south side.
inside?
Yeah, I think if I'm looking at where you're pointing it there.
Yeah, this is the entrance to the school.
Yeah, yeah.
Drop-off.
So
we're
it would be,
talking
it would
about
be down
here.
there, yep.
Okay.
And I think maybe one of the reasons it was taller too, at least in the initial proposal,
There's
was
trees.
that's,
right
well,
there.
and that's a vehicular egress point, so if it's at the level that the other signs are at, you wouldn't be able to see traffic maybe. So
Yeah.
having it elevated helps with that, but in the proposed location recommended by the planning bureau, there's A, parking spaces there, and B, like a fence and some landscaping, so we'd probably want it to be elevated to be legible, visible to the public as well.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, thank you. No other questions.
Joe?
My only question, I appreciate the clarification. I was wondering exactly, so still along North Sixth Street, but
Correct, yeah.
where the cars come into the, and still on that same strip, not across that, or is it on the very corner of the property?
Let me see if that helps a little bit.
Okay,
So
yes.
It'll be on the far side of the sidewalk, on the parking
Oh,
lot
you
side.
updated it on there. I didn't see that.
Yeah, that,
I did a new version.
Oh,
Well,
nice.
after we moved it, so, it was up here initially where we had a little more room to move it back, but there's traffic light and everything else that's going on in that corner. So this was suggested down here, and that's actually a better location, everybody thought, at the school district when we talked
I
about
would agree,
everything.
yeah.
And we can fit it in back there, you just squeeze it in.
thank you. That was my only, I understand now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone from the public for or against this project? It seems not to be. Commissioners, this seems straightforward. Could I get a motion for approval?
A motion to approve with condition noted.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second for approval with the conditions. All those in favor state by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Uh,
No, because I added it. And you would have options for maybe elsewhere. Yeah, they did ask for that. The solicitor did ask for it, yeah. Or whatever they gave you there.
Jeff? Is the applicant here for the next one?
I believe so, yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't see anybody, but I missed him. Okay. This is item number 5. This is a preliminary final land development plan application for 174 North 15th Street, which is zone residential medium density. It's filed by Reverend Queen Dickey with the St. John CME Church. It's to consolidate the two parcels comprising the project site and develop a new 2,400 square foot church, 17 space accessory parking lot, and an associate site and excise improvement. Staff.
And the Planning Commission may remember these three applications that are at the end of the agenda here. The zoning relief for each of them was reviewed at the November 2023 meetings. So this is the follow-up land development plan for those projects. So the applicant's proposing, the applicant for 174 North 15th Street is proposing to consolidate the two parcels comprising the project site and develop a new 2,400 square foot church, a 17-space accessory parking lot, and associated site and access improvements. Project site is comprised of two vacant parcels totaling .31 acres, which feature overgrown vegetation, debris from the former church on site, which was demolished in 2020, and some mature trees along the western property line. Project site is bounded by Shoup Street to the north, North 15th Street to the east, Bomball Street to the south, and the property at 1443 Shoup Street to the west. Planning Bureau staff recommends the request be approved with the following conditions. The applicant will ensure that sidewalks along North 15th Street and Shoup Street are constructed to the full width of the pedestrian right-of-way, reflecting the configuration of the site prior to the demolition of the former structure on site and the reconstruction of the sidewalks on adjacent blocks as part of an unrelated development project. The applicant should redesign the project site to have one-way traffic flow, sorry. I copied that over from the last one. Number two, the applicant will ensure that bicycle parking is provided as required per section 7-327.3E of the zoning code. The Planning Bureau would recommend that such parking be located near the main entrance and sheltered if possible. And finally, the applicant should redesign the vehicular egress onto Shoup Street to feature a driveway curb cut as opposed to the street curb cut design. Planning Bureau staff recommends the request be approved for the following reasons. The applicant has received approval of the requisite zoning relief request from the Zoning Hearing Board. The project will reestablish a place of worship use that was previously on site and which, to the Planning Bureau's knowledge, create no adverse impacts for the surrounding neighborhood. Finally, if the conditions outlined in the Planning Bureau's case report are adopted, the project will extend the public space redesign of the corridor initiated by the residential development project on the blocks to the east and south.
Okay, thank you, staff. Could you state your name, address, and your relationship to the project?
Yes, good evening. Thank you, Jeff. I'm John Melham from Melham Associates. We're at 2247 North Front Street. Our office, my staff has prepared the plans for we represent the applicant, which is St. John's CME Church.
Okay. You heard the staff report. Are you acceptable of their conditions?
Yes.
Okay. Did you want to add anything to the report?
No, I just heard it for the first time. I haven't consulted the, I don't have the entrance in my mind without opening the plans here, but if we have any questions, we'll direct it to Jeff. But on the surface of it, there's nothing there we take issue with.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I have no questions. Commissioner McKenzie?
No, looks like a relatively completed concept here, so no questions.
Commissioner O'Toole?
No questions, pretty straightforward.
Commissioner Reed?
No questions?
Commissioner Merrick?
Well, I do have a couple questions. I have no issues with the proposed land development plan or what we're doing here. Couple minor questions just around, one having to do with the lighting. Was there any intent to provide lighting in the parking area for spots 1 through 13?
Let me see. Are those the ones along the
It would be along the,
far side of the parking lot?
yeah, away from the far side from the lot, from the building. So you're
Certainly, there will be
abutting it.
adequate lighting as per, I thought we had talked about putting bollard lighting along there.
It's illuminated all around the building and around the play area, which is
If there
great.
isn't enough,
They do show on sheet 6.
I had,
Yeah, they're on the sheet you're looking at, sheet 6.
On sheet 7, the landscape and lighting.
let's see, no, it didn't get,
Yeah, I guess.
it's to be determined by our clients. I see they did put in the lighting that I've shown around the church.
Yeah.
I thought I had something along that edge, but I may have just left that for further discussion. So if with our clients, if I may.
Okay.
So,
I would think if lighting were to be added in that area adjacent to residential property, we'd want to make sure it conforms with
well, sure,
the lighting requirements.
yeah. I'm sure, yes, that's true. But my understanding, that building is unoccupied at this point.
Is that a row home, and we're looking at a brick side or a private side facing the church?
My clients told me it was owned by someone who was using it as a garage, and I think the city made some overtures to that owner to clean up, remove some tanks and things. All I can tell you is what our client has referred to me. I don't think it's occupied by anything right now. At least
Yeah.
That's my information.
I don't think it's a row home. It seems to be
Yeah, it's
just a garage. It might have been an actual operating auto repair shop or something at some point, but it's definitely not a row home.
Okay.
Okay, so we don't have a residence.
no.
No.
Right,
bedroom.
And I don't think there's any windows on that side
No,
of the,
there
buil-
aren't. I
on
was
that side
gonna
of the
say
building
that,
either.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
My other question, with the plan set, I did not see any utility plan provided for the plan set.
Utilities?
Yeah, a utility plan for the site.
Well, I show a lateral sewer connection on Plan 6 of 8, coming in off of 15th Street. And I think we have a water service come in here, as I remember. It should be there. If it isn't,
Looks like it's right next to the sanitary, moving to the left of the sheet.
yeah, there it is, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Oh,
right to the
proposed
left of it.
laterals. Okay,
Yep.
so they're on the,
I
sorry.
missed it myself, but it's, yeah.
I wouldn't think to look at the ENS plan, sorry, so, gotcha. It is noted there, okay.
To be truthful, we set a date, we had these 3 plans to go in by a deadline, and we had other things as well, and so.
Sure.
I'm glad we got them in, that's all I can tell you, They're probably not the most complete plans we've ever done, but we got a lot done in,
No, you got them
a
on a
few
different
weeks,
sheet,
yeah,
it's
so.
noted, so, okay. That
Mhm.
answers that question. I don't think I had anything else, thank you.
thank you.
Joe?
I think my question's just for Jeff, because it's related to one of the conditions that I'm not sure I fully understood. The difference between, I guess, the curb cuts that are supplied in the plans and the ones that you that, I was looking it up, and my understanding is it has to do with the level of the sidewalk or something, but could you just explain what that condition is?
Sure, and this is something we almost always put in every, as a recommendation for a condition in every review, that especially when you're having a parking lot ingress or egress, if it crosses a sidewalk, we want, from like a Vision Zero perspective, we want that sidewalk to stay consistent for an ADA route, because A, that prioritizes pedestrians so that you're not having to go down to the street, come back up, but B, it also slows vehicles that are exiting or entering a parking lot because you're going down or coming up. So it's kind of a best practice as far as keeping safety for all users.
And then, so maybe I do have a question for you, sir. Is that doesn't comprise any sort of like fundamental change in how
No,
a parking?
in fact, I'm glad I appreciate the time you're taking here, because I wanted to clarify exactly what you're talking about here. You prefer just regular curb cuts as opposed to our radiused, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and it would just be for Shoup Street because there's no sidewalk along Bomball Street down there that would constitute an existing ADA compliant path. So it would be just for the egress point.
Just for the egress, we use in fact, I had meant to ask, all right, this is on Shoup. You want just regular curb cut? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Have that be a driveway instead of like I said, having pedestrians walk down to street level and then back up on the other side. It's more having cars drive down to
That's
street
fine.
level from.
I had a question here. We've shown, I'd asked one of my surveyors to go by the other, we don't have plans for the other development. I asked one of my men to go over and take a picture to see what the construction is and what are you requiring them in the way of curb. These curbs are obviously, there's not much of a reveal there, as you know. And I'm just not sure, we're not sure what the city's policy is on this. We're not pleading poverty, but it is a small church with limited funds. And so we've designed this, the grades to work, whether we can leave the existing curb or whether you're going to require us to construct new curb along our perimeter. That was one of our questions. And I'm happy to bring it up here tonight.
Yeah, I think if there's if impacting the rear of the curb would require its removal, which would obviously be a more expensive and complicated process for the applicants, we'd be fine with like a vegetative strip between the sidewalk and the curb. But we do feel that something wider than the minimum 5-foot sidewalk is, not only recommended, would be necessary for this, given that that's a design that we incorporated into the development that surrounds the property.
Let me be clear. So we provided here a 5-foot sidewalk, as you can see. Is that adequate, or did I miss something here?
No, we would like it to be, ideally it would be the full width of what existed prior to the building coming down. It's, again, an issue of, not frankly treating pedestrians as an afterthought and doing the bare minimum for them. It's about making sure this project is as good for all users, and not just of the property, but all the people in the neighborhood who will be, traveling across and through the property, to make sure that, it maintains a consistent sidewalk width along the whole corridor of 15th Street.
I don't think we know what the original sidewalk width was.
I've looked at the street view images. It was brick sidewalk from the base of the building to the back of the curb.
From the building to the...
Yep.
You're asking us from the facade of our building all the way out to the curb to be...
Well, the property line, wherever the building is built, from the property line to the...
Well, no, we hold a 5-foot setback from the property line. All right, so I'm just asking for clarification. What are you requesting in the way of the width of the sidewalk from the property line out to the curb?
Yes. Now, again, if that requires the curb to be excavated and resituated and significantly increases the cost, we're okay with having a planting strip. But we do feel that this is, something that should be done for the benefit of the community. And it was brought up during the zoning relief application review as well.
Not arguing, with respect, I just don't and I don't remember everything. So if I don't remember that being discussed as part of it, but I'm not being argumentative, I simply don't recall it. It's a matter of cost. So we will discuss with you whether we do a planting strip. You're saying a planting strip? Are you saying a tree lawn from the curb back to a wider sidewalk?
Yeah, that would be, I think, a good compromise.
Okay, as one option. All right, we'll discuss that with you, and we'll reach an agreement. Okay. I had a question on with respect to our, it was staff's direction that as prior to our zoning application, or part of our zoning application, to have our entrance come in off Bumbaugh Street, which is a very narrow alley. And we debated whether we should use a radius entrance like this or simply a curb cut there. Do you have any preference?
No, not on that side.
Because we are, you see now, Bumbaugh is two-way, isn't it?
I think it's an alley, so
It's
it
an
probably
alley. There's no
allows two-way flow, but I don't know that it's nominally one way or the other.
There's no signage we could pick up there. On the others, of course, there is. Clearly one way, but, okay. Anything else?
Sorry, that was my only, and you both answered my question, so thank you.
Okay.
Is there anyone from the public for or against this project? With that, I don't have any other questions. I didn't know, in the report, did they state they're going to allow the public to park there when they're in?
I don't know that was referenced. I would imagine that wouldn't be their intention, but maybe the applicants can speak to that.
Okay.
Parking where?
The question was, will you allow the public to park on your parking lot, like after your services or on the weekend?
I cannot answer that. I would not, I would defer to our clients on that one,
Okay,
all right?
okay, just a question. With that, Commissioners, any other questions? If not, could I get a motion on the floor?
I make a motion to approve with the conditions noted, and I believe that addresses a modification to the curb on the, what is it, Bom?
It's the curb on Shoup Street.
Shoup
But,
Street,
I mean,
right,
if they would,
okay.
if they're willing to discuss the curb on Bomball, we'd be happy to discuss that too.
Okay. And also the adjustment to the sidewalk width.
I'll second it.
Second. It's been moved to second for approval with the conditions. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Good luck.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm still here.
Are you
See
on
you for
the
the
next
next
one?
two.
Next
Yeah.
As I was going to say,
At least
is
for
the applicant
3
here
rounds.
for that one? Okay, we're on
17, 19 again.
17.
Yes, number 6.
That's my agenda. Item number 6, this is a preliminary land lot consolidation and land development application for 1719 Market Street. Is a zone residential medium filed by Capital City Church of the Assemblies of God. This is consolidate 2 existing lots comprising the project site and to establish an accessory parking lot for the church located at 1710 Chestnut Street.
So the preliminary and final land development plan application for 1719 Market Street involves a proposal to consolidate the 2 existing lots comprising the project site and to establish an accessory parking lot for the church located at 1710 Chestnut Street. Project site is a vacant 0.42 acre parcel which features a grass and gravel lot enclosed by a 6-foot-high chain link fence topped with barbed wire on the northern and southern property lines. An associated parcel at 19 South 17th Street is a 0.07 acre site featuring sitting areas shaded by pergolas and a gazebo and enclosed by a 6-foot-high chain link fence topped with barbed wire. Subject property is bounded by Market Street to the north, the properties at 1725 Market Street and 1718 Zarker Street to the east, Zarker Street to the south, and the property at 1713 Market Street and a small grocer's alley to the west. The Planning Bureau staff recommends the request be approved with the following conditions. The Planning Bureau recommends that the applicant coordinate with the city arborist regarding required landscaping and trees on site and consider installing native plants and pollinator plants in landscaped areas around the perimeter of the site generally, and more specifically around the proposed stormwater detention basin. The applicant will coordinate with the city engineer's office on removal of the curb cut and driveway onto Market Street and reconstruction of the sidewalk along Market Street frontage in accordance with the city's sidewalk ordinance and ADA regulations. The applicant will ensure the development is in conformance with any CRW requirements regarding on-site stormwater management. Approval of a building permit for the work will not be granted until formal approval from CRW has been received. And just to be clear, the applicants have submitted the requisite documentation. We just have not received CRW's response as of yet. And the applicant will be permitted to lease spaces to surrounding residents and/or businesses during times in which it is not normally used for church congregants. And if the planning commissioners kind of remember, that was brought up at the November 2023 meeting. And the intention there was kind of both twofold. The church allows Recycle Bicycle to use their existing parking lot to do bicycling lessons for beginners. And we also wanted to allow the use of the property by people other than the congregation if it would help in the redevelopment of surrounding properties. The commission might remember across the street on Market Street, a proposal to convert an old church into a senior daycare center, and it was denied by the zoning hearing board for lack of parking, and obviously that's difficult to build in this particular neighborhood. They did reference leasing parking across the street at this location, but it had not been developed as that yet. So we just want to make sure that the site, once developed, can really be a full benefit to the neighborhood and allow the revitalization that might otherwise not occur. So the Planning Bureau staff recommends the request be approved for the following reasons. The applicant previously received approval of the requested zoning relief for the proposed development on site in September 2020 and more recently in November 2023. As the applicant notes in their narrative, the property had previously operated as an informal parking lot. As such, the proposal will formalize this configuration and ensure the property is designed to be in accordance with the current regulations of the zoning code. And finally, the proposal will redevelop a currently vacant site into something with more utility for the applicant and potentially the community, as well as a more attractive design with landscaping that will contribute to the aesthetic improvement of the Market Street corridor.
Okay, thank you, staff. You heard the staff report, and the conditions are acceptable, those conditions.
The conditions are acceptable. I would go on record, again, I'm not being combative or argumentative in any way. The aspect of, I'm aware, of course, that the church does let the recycling bicycle operation use that, and they're very happy to continue that. On behalf of everybody involved, though, I do request at some point here, clarification as to use by others, and if it's misused by others, what control do my clients have to step in and make some adjustments? I mean, obviously, that could happen. So if the city's intent is to have this open to anybody and everybody at any particular time, although I think there was wording not during church hours or something.
Yeah, and the intent is not to mandate that the applicants have to make it available to the public. It's to give them the option to do so in the future, and so that we don't get into an issue of, potentially having to file zoning relief for a commercial parking lot in the future if they're taking leases. This is obviously primarily used as an accessory parking lot for the applicants, but we wanted to add a condition to the case report, which will hopefully be adopted by the Zoning and Hearing Board, that will give the applicants flexibility to use the parking lot a bit more intensively in the future, if they so choose. There would be no mandate that they do so, and whatever agreements they make with whomever a potential leaseholder would be entirely up to the applicants.
That's an excellent response, and we have on behalf of my client, we would have no problem with that. Thank you very much, Mr. Knight.
Just something I thought about, sort of give the church some control. Couldn't you have them, any events that happen there, the people have to come to them, to the church, and ask to use that, rather than just.
Oh, absolutely. Whoever would, even cross onto their property would presumably have to have, some sort of agreement from the applicants. The condition in no way implies any rights that anybody else besides the applicants would have to the property.
Because I know that can get out of hand, when you just say open it up, and of course the wrong people always are the ones that, messes that up. So,
Mr. Chairman, I think we're all on the same wavelength with that clarification. And any church that we work with, it's got to be 150 if it's one. Every church is an outreach church. They welcome use of they want to invite people to use it, all within good reason, all within good practice, all within good manners, all within good husbandry. Absent any of those, you got a problem. So I think we're on the same
okay.
wavelength.
Okay, commissioners, I have no questions. Commissioner McKenzie?
I just have one question. Is the intent to, the storm basin there, is that intended to be fenced? I couldn't quite
Yes.
tell.
We're
Okay.
gonna fence that, yes, sir.
I saw detail, but wasn't sure where the fence was.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Commissioner O'Toole?
No questions.
Commissioner Ray?
No questions.
Commissioner Merrick?
Yeah, couple of questions. The church is located across from Zarker Street, is
Yes,
that?
sir. Yes, ma'am.
That's, okay,
Yes,
all
ma'am.
right, just wanted to.
In that, if you see in the color, what is it, the first sheet there, the
Yeah,
aerial view,
yeah,
you'll see that
It's on the left-hand side there.
Got it. I just wanted to make sure I
Yep.
was looking at it correctly. Okay, and that's a more minor, is that a one-way street or almost like an alleyway, Jeff?
Zarker?
Yeah,
I think it's similar to Bomball Street where there's no one way or the other, it's just an alley, so.
yeah, it's a narrower width.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's only one vehicle wide.
Yeah, okay. All right, then that removes, I had initially was gonna ask a question about pedestrian crossing there, but since it is a minor, almost like an alleyway, I think it goes away. Okay, thanks. And then my other question, for the parking lot layout plan, I don't see any lighting at all being provided for the site, is that correct?
That is no accident. We
Okay.
believe, and this, it is to be confirmed, in our discussions, three of us had with clients on 2 occasions, they believe they have sufficient light from existing poles. They may put an additional unit on the building. They obviously want it safe. I think there is a street, isn't there a street light out on Market? I believe there's something there. So I'm just telling you, it's been discussed,
Okay,
and if it's going to be too dark, they won't want their people to feel,
yeah.
threatened or worried. So that's all I can tell you. It's a vague answer, but it's where we are.
And I believe there is a street light on Zarker right about where the entrance is proposed to be, thereabouts. So, because I did look that up, so that it's, will be illuminated where vehicles will be going in and out, because that's definitely something you want to think about.
Right, yeah, I do, there is one called out on Zarker near the egress.
Yes, there is that.
There's one
And,
called out there. I didn't see anything called out on Market Street, but Market Street is pretty well illuminated, so I'm sure. Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Okay. Joe?
No questions.
Okay. Is there anyone from the public for or against this project?
They're a noisy group.
Yeah, they don't speak up. Commissioner, I have no other questions. Could I get a motion for approval with conditions?
I move to approve with the conditions stated.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and second for approval with the conditions. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. Good luck.
Thank you.
You here for the next project?
Yes, sir.
Just an unrelated question. What was on that property before?
It's tough to tell. I looked as far back as I could on every aerial map, and at least back as far back as 2003 on the county's tax parcel viewer, it's vacant.
That's what we found as well.
Once upon a time, something, who knows?
Okay, item number 7. This is a preliminary final land development plan application for 2701 Industrial Road. It's zone commercial general, filed by Mr. Xavier to develop the vacant parcel as a commercial parking lot. Staff?
Yep, so the preliminary final land development plan application for 2701 Industrial Road involves a proposal to develop the vacant lot as a 143-space commercial parking lot. The project site is a vacant 2.53-acre parcel, which features a maintained grass area with a 4-foot-high chain-link fence along the frontages with Industrial Road and the access drive to the adjacent hotel, as well as 2 small booths along the western property line. Project site is bounded by Wildwood Park Drive / Industrial Road to the north, the property at 920 Wildwood Park Drive to the south, and the property at 2998A Industrial Road to the west. The Planning Bureau staff recommends the request be approved with the following conditions. The Planning Bureau recommends that the applicant coordinate with the city arborist regarding landscaping on site and consider installing native plants and pollinator plants in landscaped areas around the perimeter of the site. And the applicant should install a pedestrian walkway in the eastern corner of the parking lot connecting to the sidewalk along Industrial Road nearest the existing entrance to the hotel parking lot. This will separate pedestrians from vehicles and improve safety for both users. The applicant should also work with the city engineer's office to get a dedicated, separate, and ADA-compliant path installed along the bridge over Paxton Creek, as no such route currently exists. And that condition is, I think falls as much on the city as it does, the applicant, probably more so. If you look at the bridge where Wildwood Parkway or Wildwood Park crosses over Paxton Creek, essentially you're forced to walk along the shoulder alongside, fairly large trucks which come down there. And that's the existing condition now, but I think the presumption is that there's almost no pedestrian traffic from the west side there to the east. You have the Staybridge Suites there, but I think, an argument can be made that that's not serving the farm show, whereas this particular parking lot is intended to provide overflow parking for the farm show, so it is going to, by its very nature, generate pedestrian traffic across that bridge. And, again, looking at it, it's definitely not ADA compliant, probably not the safest thing in the world, but if you go to, if anybody's been to the farm show, you've got people walking everywhere, vehicles, police directing traffic, so I think it's kind of a hairy situation as is, but it's something that I think, definitely the city should be looking to address, and, hopefully in coordination with the applicant down the line. So that's why that condition was added into the case report. The Planning Bureau staff recommends the request be approved for the following reasons. The proposed project will develop a property with relatively limited utility, given the lack of connections to the surrounding city and the lack of nearby trip generators. During times in which the property is not used for its primary purpose, it will be able to provide overflow parking for the adjacent Staybridge Suites. And the property will feature a permitted use and will be developed in accordance with the applicable zoning regulations related to development standards, parking lot screening, and required tree plantings.
Thank you, Jeff. Once again, you heard the staff report with the conditions. Are you acceptable with those conditions?
Yes, but I just want clarification. Haven't had dinner, haven't had my evening drink with my wife, so I'm just a little rusty here. Jeff, you said your comment, a sidewalk from where? Did you say along the existing entrance to the Staybridge?
Well, it was just from the proposed parking lot to the sidewalk near the entrance. So I looked at the site plan, and I presume there will still remain some fencing along Wildwood Park Drive, or some landscape screening. And without a formal pedestrian connection, it essentially requires pedestrians to walk out to the sidewalk along Industrial Road via the driveway into the property. And obviously that could create some conflicts and just actually makes people walk further away to get around to the sidewalk. I imagine people are going to cut through anyway.
Oh, you're saying from the edge of the parking here?
Yeah.
Going out. Oh, I understand. Yeah, I understand that. Certainly I do. Okay, yeah. There is a fence along there, though, isn't there? We'd have to put a gate in it or something to take a...
Yeah,
I see
assume.
what you're talking about. No,
Yep.
I don't have any... Add something in here.
Mhm.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. I can... And what else did you...
The only other recommendation was to work with the city on an eventual ADA compliant route across the bridge on Paxton Creek there. And again, that's as much, I think, the city's responsibility as it would be, certainly a part of this project.
I will tell you this. We have discussed with the client, we've discussed, and Mr. Zaber tried this, he tells me, some years ago, maybe before you were here, I don't know. They'd explored the potential for a footbridge across Paxton Creek. Didn't get anywhere. I will tell you that our office is, we've discussed it with our client. We are going to assist him in trying to interest the Pennsylvania Farm Show, maybe other interested parties. We haven't done anything yet. We have surveyed, I tell you what we have done. We've surveyed the area on both sides for one potential crossing. We haven't drawn up a plan yet to take around to various entities, to the state, to whomever might contribute to something like this. But I think you'd find my response interesting. So it would be, and as far as going up here and fiddling around with that entrance up there, it's not a good entrance. Now, you are right. My wife and I had gone up there for when I think it was when the was that girls, that marathon, that run they had, 3,000 Girls on the Run, what is it called? It's
Yeah,
a
Girls on the Run.
Girls on the Run, right?
Uh-huh,
And
hack.
my daughter is part of that and organized with her kids. And we walked up, we had a reason to walk up there and try to get, and it's abysmal. You're climbing over guide rails, the ground's all like this, it's terrible.
Yeah, it
And so-
definitely could use improvements from that perspective, especially with how they encourage people to park in the Hack campus and stuff across the street there. So again, it's more of a recommendation than, I guess, a requirement per se. Just an acknowledgement that if we now have 143 spaces with, I don't know, 250 people potentially walking along that road to get to the farm show, it's definitely something that should be on everyone's mind and, trying to look towards solutions.
Yep. So we may be looking very much for active city support on this in some way, shape, or form. Hopefully more than just words. Okay?
Okay. Is there anyone from the public for or against this project? Guess not. Normally, as the commissioners know, we usually don't favor, surface parking lots. But like you said, this is different. I'm very familiar with that area on the Hack Ward, and it's away from public. There's not much up there, so this is one time I'll probably be in favor of this. So just to let you know that this is a unique situation. Commissioners, can I get a motion?
Well, I have a question, just a quick question. I know you're working to get out of here tonight. I'm with you. I just wanted to understand I understand who's building the parking lot, but who is
In a way to,
the financial benefactor of it? Is it the Staybridge Inn? Is it Hack? Is it the State Farm Show Complex leasing it, subleasing? I mean, who's really there, 143 spaces?
Mr. Zaver has had an agreement with the farm show, this is my understanding that he has had an agreement with the farm show complex there for this lot and another one coming off the McClay Street Bridge there. He operates those. They support it. I mean, they sanction it. They tell people to park there. He does charge a parking fee. I don't know the split of that, what the city gets. I'm not privy, didn't really ask.
Sure.
He'd tell
I
me if
just
I
was
asked
trying
him,
to
but I
understand
don't,
who the real,
Mr. Zaver, the applicant, owns the Staybridge Suites too, so he owns like both those properties there.
okay,
He
that
owns,
helps, so.
just to correct, as Mr. Zaber has told me, he is part of a partnership that owns Staybridge.
Oh, sorry.
He himself, no, that's fair enough, Jeff. He himself, though, owns this subject lot.
Okay.
So one thing that I could mention is we will have cross easements as required between both parties for the emergency access, things that we would do. So, but that's the ownership situation.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner O'Toole?
No questions. I'm glad to see we can get it done this time.
Commissioner Reed?
No questions.
Commissioner Merrick?
Nope, no questions on this one.
Joe?
It's not so much a question as just, for whatever it's worth, an endorsement of that potential plan to do something out of the back, a more direct footpath to the farm show, because there is a sidewalk and there is fencing. The sidewalk's on the outside of the fencing, it looks like from here, but
Yeah.
pedestrians coming in mass and walking down a road that people do, I know, and you can't control how fast people drive and stuff like that. That's just, the world. But, so I just would support that sort of thing in the future to the extent it's possible.
This is a link from our parking lot to that existing sidewalk, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's no more questions, can I get a motion on the,
Motion to approve?
is there a second?
I'll second.
With conditions?
Yeah, with condition.
A second.
Moved and second for approval with the conditions. All those in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carried.
Thank you
Good
again.
luck.
Thank you.
Any other business?
I don't believe so. Yep, nothing I can think of.
Any questions, concerns from the commission? Anything for the good of the order? If not, can I have a motion for adjournment? No?
Yes, good to see you.
Definitely. Is there a second?
I'll say.
Second.
We stand adjourned. Yes, great to be back.
It was a nice short meeting.
Yeah, hopefully it's, next month's not too bad. I think you only